Be it on the page or on screen, Bengal's appetite for sleuths is bottomless. This appetite is constantly fed by a steady stream of films and OTT releases. Over time, the detective genre has become a reliable shortcut to box office success. So much so that if a Bengali detective is still awaiting a screen debut, it might just be a mystery worth investigating. Among these detectives, Bomkesh and Feluda in particular have been done to death with endless adaptations over the years. Yet, if you ask any Bengali about their favorite detective films, two names instantly pop up. Felunath. Ray's films are timeless. His storytelling is so nuanced and human that you always discover something new with each viewing. Whether it's a fleeting glance, or a quiet moment, or a dialogue that resonates differently as you grow older. While it's hard to pinpoint exactly what makes his work so masterful, we'll try to focus on three essential qualities that make his Feluda films stand out as enduring classics of detective genre.
I'm interested in the subject, and what interests me is density. How much can you tell? How telling can you make your images? And how much can you pack into a film without using gimmicks or whatever you call them, wish to call them, unconventional photographic or editing techniques? That sort of thing doesn't interest me to that extent very much.
Satyajit Ray's mastery in filmmaking extends far beyond narrative or characters. It is rooted in his powerful visual storytelling. In Sonar Kella, the visuals are expansive and dreamlike, reflecting a child's imagination and the mystery of reincarnation. The film opens with a night scene where Mukul is seen seated at a study table, sketching images that he associates with his previous life. Darkness of night, especially in visual storytelling, often symbolizes the unconscious mind. Ray uses darkness to mirror Mukul's buried memories. The interplay of shadow and light visually reflects the blurred boundaries between past and present, reality and vision. Ray often used light and darkness as thematic tools, not just as mood setters. In Charulata, Nayok, or Jalsaghar, he uses interior darkness to express emotional claustrophobia or inner turmoil. Mukul repeatedly draws the same images: peacocks, camels, forts. Ray frames Mukul's sketches in close up, emphasizing their eerie clarity despite the boy's trance like state. His drawings act as portals into the subconscious, offering visual clues both to the viewer and Feluda. Ray's choice of a dark opening wasn't just aesthetic. By beginning in darkness, literal and emotional, Ray sets up a visual and emotional contrast with the sun-drenched expanses to come. Ray's visual strategy, particularly his use of yellow, enhances the sense of wonder. The color is held back until the climax, intensifying the impact of Jaisalmer's golden architecture.
Sonar Kella.
Joy Baba Felunath, on the other hand, reflects themes of faith, power, and hidden corruption. Sacred spaces are juxtaposed with human greed, creating a tension between the spiritual and the sinister. This tension is created through use of tight interiors, shadow play, and close ups. Ray frequently uses low angle and over the shoulder shots to frame psychological power plays. A Ray film often relies on subtle visual cues and nuances rather than overt spectacle or dramatic flair. This approach, emphasizing intellectual and emotional understanding, encourages viewers to actively engage with the film's themes and characters. A powerful villain doesn't just serve as an obstacle, he challenges the hero and tests the limits of his strength, particularly in the world of detective fiction and crime thrillers. Maganlal Meghraj is Feluda's archenemy, just as Professor Moriarty is to Sherlock Holmes. Joker is to Batman, and Lex Luthor is to Superman. Maganlal is not an ordinary crook. He is resourceful, wealthy, theatrical, and dangerously intelligent. Villains like Maganlal use power as intimidation. They manipulate perception and draw people into moral gray zones. This makes the hero's refusal to compromise all the more powerful. Feluda does not match Maganlal in wealth or muscle, but in integrity, wit, and mental endurance, he surpasses him. And that's what elevates their encounter. The villain isn't just there to challenge the hero's skills, but also to test his core identity.
আমি ঘুষ নিই না মগনলালজি।
In Sonar Kella, Satyajit Ray presents a complementary pair of antagonists: Amionath Bormon, the mastermind, and Mondar Bosch, the executor. Together, they form a composite threat, representing two halves of a dangerous whole: intellect corrupted by greed and force unchecked by conscience. While the villains are split into two functions, brain and brawn, Feluda, as a hero, unites both. He has the sharp intellect to match Amionath and cool courage to stand up to Mondar. More importantly, he possesses a moral center which neither of the villains has. Unlike traditional hero-villain showdowns that culminate in physical confrontation, Sonar Kella is a slow-burning psychological duel. The antagonists stay ahead temporarily by pretending to be allies. Feluda, in turn, engages in quiet pursuit of truth, decoding their behavior with growing suspicion. In both films, Confrontations are not about violence, but mental superiority and moral clarity. Satyajit Ray transforms the traditional duel into a battle of intellect, ethics, and composure. The suspense comes not from the explosions or car chases, but from who will outthink whom and how truth will triumph over deception. Satyajit Ray's films are known for their rich subtext, often exploring complex social, political, and cultural issues beneath the surface of their narratives. Sonar Kella is part of a period where Ray increasingly explores masculinity. Films like Jon Oronno and Oranye Tin Ratri also question what it means to be a man in post colonial, modernizing India. Rajasthan, both real and imagined, plays a pivotal role in Sonar Kella. It serves not just as the film's backdrop, but as a character in its own right, rich in color, history, and fantasy. The visual enchantment of forts, desert, and vast open spaces contrasts with Bengal's riverine lushness. Bengalis are historically portrayed as intellectual but physically weak, whereas Rajasthanis, particularly Rajputs, are imagined as embodiment of martial masculinity, strong, aggressive, and honor bound. The film complicates this. While the setting is Rajasthani, the protagonists are Bengalis. They are outsiders navigating a supposedly more masculine terrain, asserting a different kind of heroism, intellectual agility, intuition, and open mindedness. The final scene of the film unfolds not in a grand palace, but among ruins and rubbles. A symbolic collapse of traditional masculine power and historical grandeur. In Joy Baba Felunath also, Satyajit Ray presents different models of masculinity. He subtly critiques conventional performative masculinity through characters like Gunamoy Bakchi, the famous bodybuilder. Though physically imposing and publicly admired for his muscular physique, a traditional symbol of male strength, Bakchi quickly reveals cowardice when confronted with actual danger. In a moment that borders on satire, he finds excuses to avoid direct confrontation with real criminals, subverting the myth that physical strength equates to bravery or moral fortitude. This contrasts sharply with Feluda, who consistently demonstrates courage, intellect, and moral clarity, qualities that Ray seems to champion as more essential to masculinity. The knife throwing scene in Joy Baba Feluna is perhaps the most psychologically intense moment in Satyajit Ray's cinema. It serves several layered purposes in the narrative and reveals deep insights about masculinity, power, and vulnerability. Maganlal Meghraj clearly conveys that violence is always within reach and forces Feluda into a passive, almost captive position. Feluda's lack of action in the scene reveals that masculinity in Ray's universe is not always about immediate retaliation or bravado. He processes, remembers, and waits. Masculinity is portrayed as cerebral and strategic, not reactive. This also humanizes Feluda, showing that masculinity can include moments of restraint, observation, and even helplessness, without undermining one's integrity or capability. Similarly, Jotayu, often comic and self deprecating, also shows flashes of bravery and loyalty, suggesting that masculinity can also include vulnerability and self doubt.
আমি তো বেঁচে আছি, অক্ষত।
I also realized that not many really worthwhile children's films were being made in India, and the children were waiting for something which was for them, which was made for them. And I could see that from the amount of letters that I received from children who had seen the films, that please make more for us. And I decided then and there actually to make a children's film every 2 or 3 years. And I have also made a couple of films based on my own novels, short detective novels, because this character that I created turned out to be extremely popular. And the first one was The Golden Fortress, which was shot largely in Rajasthan, and the second one was The Elephant God, which was made in Benares. And there may be more coming up. Who knows?